Look, Lucas, when the year we met doesn't count for how old I am, all right? I know you keep iterating that in my life. You're not that important.
I feel like your life didn't really start until we met, so
Well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess that's your opinion. Personally, I think it's when I met Michael, but
Wow.
yeah, well, I mean, come on. You remember the first time you met Michael? You remember where you were?
Vividly. I remember what I was wearing. Nothing.
I remember I remember, I was going to say, I remember what I wasn't wearing.
Clothes.
Clothes.
Underwear.
I saw him in my clothes just rip off themselves. I was like, dude, get that little mohawk over here. And
Credit card me with your mohawk.
go.
It's happening. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm a little nervous for this one.
Oh my god, it's fucking happening. Dude, you know what I learned today?
What's that?
That have you seen the movie Gremlins?
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen Gremlins?
I'm 26,
Jesus
man.
fucking Christ.
That movie came out in like 69.
Okay, don't insult me.
It came out when you were born, man.
If I was born in 69, that's the best year to be born. It's the coolest year to be born.
It's probably the worst.
I mean, what I was getting at before you insulted me was that I found out that movie is sparked the creation of the PG-13 rating.
Really?
Yeah, because it was supposed to be it's basically a kid's movie. And it was supposed to be, it was so scary though and like intense that they were like, this is too much for like children under a certain age. So they invented the PG-13 rating for Gremlins.
I mean, those things are scary, man.
It was freaky. I saw it when I was a kid, when I was born in 1969 when the movie came out. And I remember seeing it and it was scary.
You saw it the year you were born?
Yeah, and I remember. That's how much it stuck with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because like, I'm sure if we looked back on the movie today, it would be a little less,
for sure,
impressive. But
watching it, I literally just watched it like a month ago. It's not nearly as,
But
when you're 1 year old, everything's a little scarier.
The designs for them is like they're very like unique and like just scary, and they have all these like wrinkles and bulges and stuff.
Yeah, man, the gizmo or whatever, like before they turn evil, is like one of the cutest little Furby looking things ever. Yeah. And then when they go evil, they are really fucking scary.
I mean,
so you gotta wait until you're 13 to watch it, bud. I'm sorry.
Okay, fine. I was gonna put it on Hulu or whatever, and
just
take a little gander.
Years. Just 2 more years, Brett, and you're there.
You're going to be very proud of me for this. I watched SLC Punk last night.
I'm pretty proud of you. That's like a coming-of-age punk thing you have to do. If you call yourself punk and you haven't seen SLC Punk, then you're a fucking poser.
I mean, I've been playing music in a punk band for nearly a decade now, but I'm glad to say I've finally entered into being a punk, as they call it, being punk rock.
Yep.
Bob in that film reminded me a lot, just in looks, of Michael.
Yeah, for sure.
It was kind of like the whole time there was like this second part of my brain that was just thinking like, oh, that's my friend Michael from my band.
Now you know who he modeled his life off of.
Yeah, well, hopefully not his whole life.
That's yet to be seen.
Oh, all right, well.
And on that note, what's up, buddies?
What's up, buds?
Welcome to another episode of Earbuds Podcast. We're two buds, me and Brett, Lucas and
That's
B.
you and me.
Yeah. The LBs is what we call ourselves. We're the Pound Gang. And
we're BLP, Brett
BLP.
Lucas Podcast.
That's right. We listen to one good album for one good episode, one good time.
Once a year.
Once a year. And,
we're not going to tell you which one is the good one.
No, you're going to do some digging for that. That's like hunting for truffles. They're pretty hard to find. But, we're the odd couple of odd podcasts. And we finally figured it out.
I think we finally figured out the best way that we can incorporate both of those things. It comes right off the tongue. It slides off real easy.
There's nothing confusing about it. You know exactly what we're talking about.
It's going to be super easy to describe the design to whoever's making our t-shirts.
Which might be soon to come. We might have some big news, buddies, but we're not going to say anything about it yet. Because before we get to that, we need to get to the album that we're going to talk about today, which I fucking enjoyed a lot. And it's an album called Magic by a pretty unknown underground hip-hop artist, Nas. I don't know if you've heard of Nas or Nas.
Nas. I think Nasty Nas or Nasty Nas.
I think it's Nastradamus.
Yeah.
Is one of his nicknames.
You might have heard of him. He released an album called Illmatic in like 94.
94.
And then I think this is the next project he made.
Yeah. This is either his second record or his 14th record.
No one's really sure.
Right. Wikipedia said that this is his 14th studio album, so I believe everything I read on Wikipedia, so let's just go with that.
Sure. Yeah.
Man, I love me some Nas.
Man, I'm getting into it. We listened to this record. I listened to Illmatic in college.
Same here,
long ago.
I feel like that's one of those like college records that people listen to. Like, how many people had an Illmatic poster when they moved to, got to college? Like, you had Illmatic, Bob Marley, Dylan maybe, and like Scarface.
Some vague Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin, Boondock Saints, Scarface. I also heard Illmatic for the first time in college.
But yeah, man, you brought this record up to me. This is the latest record he did. He has been releasing a lot of stuff lately, actually. Yeah. He released King's Disease in 2020. Is that right? 2019?
I think King's Disease 1 and 2 were released in the last couple of years. Yeah.
And then he released this album the same year as King's Disease 2.
Yeah, and he's saying that this album is just like a while you guys wait for me to finish King's Disease 3, I'm going to put out this, some bullshit or whatever is like what he made it sound like. And then this is a really fucking good record.
Yeah, he's been working with Hit Boy, which is an insane producer that's been active for 2 decades now.
Yeah, and to think that he is producing, he's like Nas' sole producer for the last like 4 or 5 records that they've put out is
right.
Is incredible to think like, with such a legend like Nas just going, I like you. Like I only want to hang out with you.
Hit Boy is a legend too, man.
He is.
I just recently looked into his discog for this episode. I had no idea he was like helping write Good Kid, Mad City, that he helped write Beyonce and Lemonade. He made Backseat Freestyle, which I know you'll be very happy about. Oh my god,
dude. My favorite Kendrick song ever.
I mean, what a beat that thing is.
Oh man, I had no idea that he did that. Now I gotta look it up, dude.
He also wrote a lot of other hit songs. He did Stronger, Mary J. Blige. He did an Eminem song that got pretty famous. I forgot what
Oh man, he produced Click by Kanye West, and it has like Jay-Z and Big Sean on it. I love that beat.
Yeah, he produced Blank in Paris.
He produced Trophies by Drake, which is like one of my favorite Drake beats also.
So this
guy's been in my life for so long, and I had no idea.
He is prolific.
Wow.
He's not just some dude that Nas picked up off the street.
No way.
It's insane that these two, they must have sparked some kind of friendship or something, because they've been working on the last 3 records, another one coming up. And if you look at the credits of King's Disease 1 and 2, you'll see that there are a couple other producers. There are a good amount of writers. There's a lot of features. But this album, Magic, has one producer,
Yep.
and it's Hit Boy, and they have like 2 features, DJ Premier and ASAP.
Which I thought DJ Premier is such a cool feature, man.
Yeah, and it was like
Just getting DJ Premier to cut up some stuff for your hook. Like, how fucking cool is that? It's such a great idea to like feature a DJ. I don't know if I've seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it might have been something done more when,
back in the day.
Back when rap was finally getting its legs and getting into
Yeah.
the mainstream.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that it's kind of happening now, and you know, with Tyler the Creator's newest album, he's kind of got it. He's got a DJ going through the whole thing on Damn.
Cool.
Kendrick has a DJ going through the whole thing, and so it's definitely making a comeback.
I didn't realize that about Damn, because I remember that record, and so is Good Kid, Mad City. Every song on it had a different producer.
Yeah, well, it's like the guy who like Kung Fu Kenny.
Yeah, well, that's Kenny
like,
Beats. Isn't that not? Oh no, that's not Kenny.
The
Beats.
guy
I'm
saying
sorry.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Man, Kendrick had some badass Kung Fu Kenny Nikes that came out. He came out with he did like a collaboration with them with some Cortezes, which are like really cool old school. Those old school fluffy potato shoe Nike like running shoes that like Forrest Gump wore. Forrest Gump came out like 2 fucking years before you were born, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But
I mean, I've seen Forrest Gump.
Okay, see, that's surprising. I didn't expect you to have seen it.
I've seen 10 movies that came out before 2010, probably.
Yeah, anything that came out before Blade 3, you're like, I'm not about it.
And I've seen Blade.
Okay, yeah, that's right. We were talking about that recently. Yeah. I've seen Blade many times.
But I did, when Blade 3 came out, I was like, this is probably a good time to start watching movies, I guess.
Yeah, you were like, this might be the pinnacle of cinema, but I have to see what led to this.
Right.
Yeah. You're like, Ryan Reynolds in that movie is electrifying.
But this is something we'll talk more about on Soul Buds and
yes,
iBuds.
iBuds, yeah. No, man, this record, there's no beat that really stands out from Hit Boy, but it has this consistent East Coast. It's not too aggressive sounding, but it's not that chill, but it is kind of chill. Like, there's just a consistent vibe throughout the record, and it all just works perfectly with Nas's lyrics and delivery, man.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic vibe through the whole album. I really wanted to listen to more of Nas's stuff before the episode. I just didn't have time.
Right. I mean, he is so prolific. Like we said, this is his 14th record, man. So
yeah. I don't know if this is a vibe they've been working on the last 2 records.
Yeah, I haven't heard King's Disease 1 or 2.
But it's very smooth. It can be ethereal at moments.
Mm-hmm.
At some moments, it sounds like Hit Boy like listened to a lo-fi chill beats to study to playlist and kind of got inspiration from that.
Yeah, like on Ugly. Yeah, and on Meet Joe Black, like those 2 songs, which are back to back, like have these kind of warbly, dreamy things going on. And I mean, a lot of synth on this record, and just like 808 kick and drum, you know. But he kind of plays around with what he uses for the bass on some of the songs. He has kind of more synthy, almost 80s sounding bass on some songs, and then he has the classic like 808 really deep bass on some others, and then he has like early 90s like gangster Snoop Dogg type funk synthy bass too. Like really, and it's interesting that it could be so cohesive throughout the whole record, and I loved every beat on this album.
The beats throughout the album, the drums are usually pretty consistent. It's a very kind of boom bap feeling.
Yes,
beat.
Very East Coast.
But I feel like every other song kind of like every other song is ethereal, and then every other song is a lot more boom bap and a little more focused and a little harder.
Yeah, and Nas does a really good job of matching the energy of the song, because he's really good at switching up cadences a lot too, which is really cool. But I think he's especially masterful at hearing the beat and knowing exactly how he should deliver the lines. How fast he should go, how slow he should go, how hype he should sound, vice versa. Like, there's not a lot of rappers have, obviously a ton do, but I'm saying like as a majority of like what you hear on the radio, there's not a lot of that nuance and like dynamic range of someone's delivery.
Right. And I think it could be pretty obvious that a lot of that has to do with the chemistry of Hit Boy and Nas. By now, they get each other, they understand each other. Maybe they're even kind of pushing each other.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder how much of it is Hit Boy directing a little bit. Like how much did he produce Nas's side of things too? But I mean, at this point, it's Nas. Like we know his.
Sure.
I've heard him throughout the trajectory of his career, and I'm gonna assume that he knows that just how to do shit the right way. He doesn't need someone to tell him.
No, like Nas is definitely just he's got himself figured out by now. I assume.
Man, amazing lyricist and storyteller. It's so cool that every song he has a focus on every single song. And if you didn't know, just like I didn't know, that every song is kind of about something, and you're not following along with the lyrics, I don't think you would pick up on it. But it's that deeper appreciation that you get when you dive more into the lyrics of this, like following along on Genius and knowing what the song is about. You already know that he's an amazing, like, lyricist and writer and songwriter, and the style of his delivery is really cool. Like the way that he switches up his rhyming, like what he's like focusing on rhyming, like that last word. He'll do it for like 3 lines, and then he'll switch it up on you, and you won't even notice because it's done so masterfully. But a lot of times, man, that throws me that takes me out of the song a little bit sometimes when I hear them trying really hard to get to the next rhyme.
Yeah.
And like, just going from like ride, energized, reside, like for 3 lines, and then the next 3 lines is childhood, good, outlook. And like when I break it down that way, it sounds really fucking amateurish and like not that impressive. But it's the fact that he is doing all these internal rhymes in between lines to be able to get to the next thing, and it's all still on point and on topic. And
I mean, he's just
insane.
A veteran. He knows how this thing works. He's been through the trials and tribulations of a rapper. He's had probably the worst thing that can happen in your music career, which is making a debut album that many still consider to be your best.
Yeah, that I mean, what a like double-edged sword, or blessing and a curse it is to have your debut record become a classic in the genre.
Yeah,
because it's constantly going to be compared to that. He mentions that on this record, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's something that I'm sure is present through his entire career, because he's always tried to keep going and evolving. And there was a long time when people just kind of didn't care about him, and then he came back, and then another little hiatus, and now he's back again. I don't think anyone really expected him to go this hard this late in his career.
Yeah.
With like
it's
3
impressive.
consecutive albums in the last couple years.
Yeah, seeing the reason I picked this record was because I saw this album on a list, a lot of people's best of 2021 hip hop lists, and I didn't even know this came out last year. And I'm a fan of Nas. Even he's not something I'm constantly listening to, but I love Nas, and especially Illmatic and the Lost Tapes. Like the Lost Tapes was what got me into him, which is such a cool concept. I don't know if you've heard that record.
I haven't.
I think I told you about this, but it's the Lost Tapes is there's a bunch of, I don't know if it's one producer or a bunch of producers that just like, Nas had all these beats just kind of lying around, and he has notebooks, like just tons and tons of notebooks of lyrics that he's never used. So the lost tapes is him just kind of going back into those notebooks and picking lines here and there and just throwing them together into a 2.5 minute song. And it's amazing, especially when you find out that that's how he wrote it. That these are just existing lines that just he thought weren't good enough. And it's almost like, well, here's this shit that, never got used. I'll just throw it on a fucking CD, and it's incredible.
That just goes to show that this guy is like, as he says in one of these songs, he like gave his life to hip hop, and he gave his life for this.
Yeah.
And just the fact that he has notebooks, books and books and books of lines that he just hasn't even used.
Yeah, it bothers me that Kanye is so considered a genius. He's considered like a Mozart of our generation, and then he's someone who's like, I don't even write my lyrics down. Like, whatever.
Well, I mean, I think that would be an argument to him being a genius.
Nah.
Is that he doesn't even write it wasn't until Dark Twisted Fantasy that was the first time he wrote down his lyrics.
Yeah, but he's not, I don't know. We can get into, we'll talk about this on Kanye Buds. We'll get more into
on our
it.
separate special podcast where we just talk about Kanye.
Yeah, where we mostly just talk shit about him. But yeah, no, Nas is by far a legend, and following him throughout his career, he hasn't always impressed me. Like, I've definitely heard stuff that just sounded. It sounded like at times that he was going down like the Snoop Dogg path of just not having to try very hard because of the name. And this album, his lyrics are incredible, and he is just he sounds the same as he did on Illmatic to me. And to me, this is, with how much I love Illmatic, this is almost at that level of,
wow, that is quite a claim for an in-between like intermission album.
That's what I mean. Like, when I found out that this was just, his line where he says like, this is just getting buzz going for King's Disease 3.
Yeah, this is to feed the buzz.
Feed the buzz. I'm like, he's just like, if this is just a taste of what's going to come on King's Disease 3, that might be like one of my favorite hip hop records in the last, 15 fucking years.
I mean, I think obviously, like, when we're done with this episode, eventually we're going to like listen to the King's Disease 1 and 2 and get hyped for King's Disease 3, which I guess it seems like it's going to come out this year.
I guess so. It's going to be one of those things that's like fucking Chinese democracy, and it won't come out for 15 years because they built it up so much and people were so hyped for it, Like, I fully expect Kendrick to come out with an album this year, but then I could see it not fucking happening too.
we might talk about Kendrick on another episode, but that guy, I don't know how he keeps doing it with this reputation he's built and like this pressure on his shoulders.
Did you hear the feature that he was on with I wish I could remember the name. I'll look it up later, but he was on a feature on someone's song that I never heard this person before, but they were really good too. And his features in like, it is at, To Pimp a Butterfly level, like Good Kid Mad City level, and I'm just like, Kendrick hasn't skipped a beat, man, and I can't fucking wait to hear something from him, because like, we need to hear what he has to say about all this shit that's happened in the last 2 fucking years, Like, he mentioned the pandemic in his feature, and I'm just like, he's gonna have so much shit to say, and I can't fucking wait to hear it.
That's why he's the GOAT, man. It might just be like a whole double album with all the stuff that he needs to say.
Can you imagine like a double album, 46 songs, 46 producers, just like all killer, no filler? If he reaches that Sum 41 level of all killer, no filler on his next album, like, can't fucking
people
wait
can
to
only
hear it.
hope to be as killer as Sum 41 was at their peak.
I mean, they were, they knew they were at their peak because they named their album All Killer No Filler, man. They knew it going into it.
But let's get back to Nas, man.
I want to keep talking about Sum 41.
I mean, look, me too. If you don't think Sum 41 was a crucial part of my musical upbringing, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, me and Christina have jammed their songs multiple times, like in the last few years, and just sang along to every word,
I mean,
we'll save that for Bud's 41.
we have a lot of. That was the big news, is that we have like 30 new special, unique podcasts coming out.
Yeah, because we're tired of not being able to talk about Sum 41 on our podcast. So like, let's just make a Sum 41 podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is the Nas episode, so I agree. Let's go back to Nas. You know, one thing that I like about this album. One thing that I might like the most about this album, 3-minute songs.
I mean, that's the thing, man. This 29-minute 9-song album, short songs, just get straight to the point.
Yeah,
all killer, no filler.
Give me a fucking Zach Fox, like, shut the fuck up talking to me. Give me a fucking, like Tierra Whack. Which one was that one? The 15-minute long one.
Whack World.
Whack World. Give me that. Give me a fucking Magic by Nas. Like, this is the perfect length of a hip hop record and perfect length songs. Like any Action Bronson record. Give me more of that shit.
And I don't know why maybe it's just because we have life to deal with. That like
that anything over 35 minutes feels like a slog. It feels like, dude, where am I going to find 42 minutes to listen to a record? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Unless you're like a professional.
Right.
And maybe even if you are a professional, there's no way you can like sit down and focus on like an hour-long album.
It just has to be so, with the point I am in my life, it has to be so captivating to keep me to want to listen to an hour's worth of music of the same band, of the same genre. I love listening to 7 different genres in an hour. Right. To have me listen to a metal record for an hour, it's like, you better make this so interesting and good that you're going to keep me for this whole fucking 60 minutes.
It might just be a thing with you and me, but it is a lot like that. I need different things. I can't listen to one genre for, 3 hours straight. I can't.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to listen to one band for an hour straight, because you listen to a band, you expect a sound. It's nothing against them. They're the band.
Right. But one of my favorite things about listening to music is discovering new music through the music I already like. So I love things like, Spotify radio, where I can just make a radio station based off of a song that I love, or based off an album that I love. And I've heard 5 new bands that day. Yeah, right. That's my favorite thing to do with music now, is discover new music. I just want more.
And that's why you have that prestigious, like Nar Nugs radio. That you focus so hard on that you only release like a couple episodes a year.
Yeah, it's so prestigious that you didn't even get the name right. But no,
I don't know, man.
That was the whole point.
So many fucking nug words.
Oh, I know, man. I don't have enough creativity to come up with anything else, so I'm just building off of nugs.
Your entire brand is like the word nar and the word nugs. So it's like
it's so true. My whole personal brand. But that was the whole point of that podcast, was like, as much as I enjoyed talking about, one record for an episode, like I love being able to break it down that much, like the minutia of it. That's not how I usually listen to music.
Right.
So a playlist is what I like to listen to. And I've gotten so many complaints from people that hang out with me that I put on the most random shit, back to back, that they feel like they can't get in like a mood because I'm going from country to metal. Yeah. And to me, that is the mood. Every 4 minutes, I get to have a different mood.
The mood lasts as long as the song does.
Yeah. And I love that these songs on this record are 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Like, yeah, and Earth Gang, I love you, but your songs are too long, all right?
This record is exactly how you like it. It's got one beat through the whole song. The song's 3 minutes.
Yes. Exactly Action Bronson style,
I prefer something like You Turned Me On to an album by Homeboy Sandman called Humble Pie.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's way more manic and all over the place.
Yeah, I like beats that like evolve throughout the song and that are just like so many things are happening and that's just me. I still like. I
mean,
still
think
really
like To
enjoy
Pimp
this.
a Butterfly, right? Think like Damn, where like halfway through the
Yeah.
song the beat completely changes.
Right, and I could still enjoy albums like this where there's just one beat going through the whole thing. I think the only time it changes is the last song where it like switches up halfway through.
Which I liked a lot.
But when it's the best way for me to ingest this music is when the songs are short and focused,
Right.
and it's not like dragging along for no reason.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I think the only downside to that is that I don't really like the brand of hip hop. I don't gravitate towards the brand of hip hop that they use for their hooks. They kind of repeat. It's kind of them still rapping a little bit,
Yeah.
and they just kind of repeat certain lines for every hook or every chorus. And I especially don't like it when it's packaged like this, where the beat doesn't change at all either, to kind of differentiate between the verse and the chorus. So I don't really know that he's doing the chorus because it just sounds like more bars until he repeats it a minute later or whatever. Right. And so I don't really like that type of hip hop songwriting. I think people like Denzel Curry pull it off really well, but I don't think a lot of people do pull it off very well. Like I almost would rather have like a singing hook on every hip hop song, and that's just kind of, that's my personal
Sure.
thing. But outside of, I don't think there was one hook that I liked on this record, but but I loved all the verses. And I gotta say, man, the one feature of a rapper on this is A$AP Rocky, and I have never once been impressed with A$AP Rocky before this album, and he fucking killed it on his feature on this record.
Yeah, I've never really gotten into Rocky or anything. I've heard him around, obviously, but
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of his stuff, and I've never been impressed.
it's not like he's ever stood out that much.
No, but he was your favorite. He was on your favorite Action Bronson song from the White Bronco record.
Yeah,
Swerve on Him. You loved his feature on that one, and I didn't really like it that much.
yeah, and I think he does like a minute-long verse on this song, and I think it's great, and I think it's cool how Nas kind of starts his verse in the same way.
Yeah,
talk about like getting up in the morning and like Rocky rolls a J and Nas puts on his do-rag and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta say, man, like the difference in the workmanship that I'll put it that way of A$AP Rocky's verse on this song versus on Swerve on Him with Action Bronson is like night and day. He sounds like he really wants to fucking, he's like, I'm on a Nas song. Nas is featuring on it. Like, it really sounds like he's trying really hard in a good way. And I was very impressed with his feature.
Sure. No matter how big you get, A$AP Rocky's probably one of the more prolific rappers today.
Is he?
I think so. I mean, I see him everywhere.
I think so.
I fucking see him everywhere.
I know
If
he's a
not,
celebrity.
then-
I know he's one of the biggest names. I just don't know how much music he actually still does these days, He's almost like a fashion icon in hip hop more than a rapper icon.
I mean, I think he just mostly features is what it looks like.
Okay, yeah, see, yeah. That doesn't surprise me very much. He's like, dude, I'm married to Rihanna. I'm sponsored by Givenchy. Like, I don't need to rap anymore.
More accurately, I guess he's one of the more well-known rappers.
Yeah,
today.
he's definitely one of the most famous rappers in the scene.
But even still, like, you have your idols. And Nas, even if you only liked, Illmatic and maybe Stillmatic or whatever, he's still one of the OGs, still one of the, the best to do it. So
yeah, you could hear it meant something.
Yeah, it meant something to be on this song.
Yeah. Dude, and deservedly so, man. There's so many Nas lines on this record that I fucking love.
I'll go through them real quick.
A few that I had to write down, man. I love I got that feeling, Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling. Hope it resembles a Van Gogh when you paint me the villain.
Yeah.
That's so fucking hard. I love, homie, you gotta feel me from Cali to the Calliope. Slicker than the Desi Arnaz on my Copacabana flow. In Houston with a thick one eating Papa Dough. I'm like, calling out Papa Doughs in Houston. That was cool.
Yeah, because you're from Houston.
Yeah, that's everyone knows that, Brett. You don't have to.
Yeah, no.
Joke landed. All right.
Everyone's read your Wikipedia.
Reference landed. I love that he gives props to some of the current artists right now that are killing it. Where he goes, me, Jay, and Frank White, which he's talking about like me, Jay-Z, and Notorious B.I.G. Right, is like Cole, Drizzy, and Kenny. I'm like, dude, he just like so just in the coolest, nonchalant way, just said like J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar are like me, Jay-Z, and Notorious B.I.G. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, like there was a line on one song that I forgot where he was talking about like we need to stop, wrecking each other and start adjusting each other's crowns, right?
Yeah.
And that it seems like that's exactly what he was doing with that line. Is that like he was like, we're all great.
Yeah, like y'all are fucking amazing. Like if there was a Mount Rushmore with 6 heads, it'd be the 6 of us.
It'd be those 6.
Yeah, which is fucking cool. It's cool to have like a like you said, like an OG give props to the new guys who are already legendary and are gonna be legendary forever in the scene. As little as I like Drake's music,
I mean,
people fucking love it. So
I am
he's massive.
Not at all a fan of Drake, especially. I mean, the longer he goes on, the worse it gets.
I stopped giving him a chance a long time ago. He was so huge, and then I listened to his music, and I'm like, wow, I'm not feeling this at all, and especially not feeling his beats.
Yeah,
His
just
chill
like,
ass beats that never have a bass on them, like drive me insane.
You talk about a dude who's like riding on his laurels.
Yeah, right. He's just like, it is all in my voice. This whole song is just my voice. I'm like, your voice isn't that great.
To say he's not influential to a massive degree is just denying yourself.
As little as I understand it, I have to give him his due.
Got any other lines?
Nah, man. Do you have any? Were there any lines that stood out to you?
For whatever reason, I thought like the beginning of Speechless. I'm 21 years past the 27 club. It's like I went back and sped my history up.
Yeah. I know.
I thought it was a cool way to start the album because it kind of just like, I don't know, it gives off his experience and it shows that he acknowledges that, he's not like a young thug anymore or whatever.
Yeah, he was very impressive on this record, man, and I'm definitely gonna listen to King's Disease 1 and 2, and probably fucking love them unless they're 46 minutes long. Then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Looking forward to King's Disease 3.
Was there a song on this record that you didn't like?
No, man, not really. Every song was tight. It's not like any of the songs took any risks to be abhorrently bad or anything like that.
Yeah, there was nothing challenging on the record.
I was kind of hoping that Woo for the Children would be a little more of like a Wu-Tang type of beat.
I did love the beat on it, but I was hoping for the same, yeah.
It's a good beat. It's like not at all like Wu-Tang.
No, I thought The Truth had more of a Wu-Tang style beat on it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Like, I'm sure they
like,
thought
we're not
going
to put it on this beat, we're going to put it on this other one.
Maybe they thought it was too on the nose to put the Wu sounding beat on, a song named after them.
Yeah, maybe.
But I will say my least favorite song is Ugly, and I still like it, but it's just my least favorite because it felt like it kind of a blend of lo-fi, the warbly lo-fi stuff blended with like an old Kanye beat where he uses that like chipmunk soul type of samples, and I'm just so over that sound. that
I still
I just
love
didn't
that
like
sound.
Yeah, see, a lot of people do, man, and I can't really. It got so overdone that I started to kind of hate it a little bit. But that's the only reason it's my least favorite song. But still, "Ugly" is a great track.
Well, let's get to our favorite tracks, man.
Yeah, dude. These switched around quite a bit for me. So
It is time, it is time, it is time for Choice Nugs. It is time, it is time, it is time for Choice Nugs.
let's get into the choice nugs, dude. What is your first choice nug?
My first choice nug is the first song on the album, Speechless. I think it's a great way to start this album. Mm-hmm. It has those cool echoey kind of reverb guitars in the back that I really like.
I really like the guitar. I thought it was really cool.
Such a fan of whenever they like do that in rap songs where they kind of have this like echoey. It's almost a trope at this point. Like the kind of
yeah, but this one didn't feel cheesy or like derivative at all.
No, not at all.
Man, yeah, the beat is so cool, very chill. I was trying to figure out how to describe it because it's not jazzy, but it is.
I mean, I thought of it as like kind of ethereal with a boom bap drum on it.
Yeah, ethereal is a good way to put it because it is just kind of spacey and there's some like pan synth going on and these really echoey, just on the high E of the guitar, just doing like just very Oh man, yeah.
There's a lot of space and a lot of room on this entire record, but I think this song in particular makes really good use of that space, and that juxtaposed with Nas's kind of going hard delivery, but it's also effortless.
Yeah, man, this it doesn't sound that's the coolest thing about Nas is that it doesn't sound like he's trying hard, and it sounds like these lyrics are just flowing out of him like pen to paper. And I love the part of the second verse where he's talking about, basically all the people who were saying that he had kind of lost his, he's like, oh man, Nas has fallen off. Like he can't do it anymore. That part of his career is kind of what he's talking about. And he's saying like, I want to leave these people speechless with like this record that I'm putting out right now. And I love like the way that he's talking about it in the second verse. I think is such a cool way where he says like, pick a down on his luck rapper, I bet he's broke, with the arrogance of a crackhead mad at a weed smoker, or a pill taker who hated distilled wine drinker, a killer who used a gun to hate on a knife swinger. All right, I get it. Like it's like, like so like picking on someone who is just is basically doing the same shit you're doing. You're just you don't like the way he's doing it, so he's doing it wrong for some reason. And I thought it was just such a clever way to put it. This one was one of my choice nugs, and it bounced around, man.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
And I would say this is the chorus in this song is probably one of my favorites on the record.
Right. Yeah, I think there are a couple hooks that didn't really speak to me. I think Meet Joe Black is one of them.
Yeah, Meet Joe Black, I thought, honestly, was one of my favorites, too. Yeah. Like, Meet Joe Black. Like, basically, like, talk shit, I'm going to kill you. And it was a random reference to a 90s Brad Pitt movie, but I like the way he used it. He made it hard. But, yeah, I like the hook on Speechless. Like, it feels like an old 90s, like you said, like, boom bap, East Coast hook that they would talk about, like just talking about all the shit that goes on in the hood, and kind of glorifying it, but also saying like the shit sucks,
like it's still kind of a problem.
I'm not happy about it, but this is what's going on.
They do actually change the beat up a little bit when that hook comes in.
Yeah, and and it's the same thing like you said on Meet Joe Black, on Speechless, the same way where he sort of changes up his delivery a little bit too to make you realize he's doing something different. Something different's happening right now. Which he doesn't do on the whole record, but Speechless is a great opener, man. Deserves to be someone's choice nug.
Well, what's your second choice nug?
Well, my first choice nug we haven't even gotten to yet. If you want me to skip it, that's rude, but I'll do it.
I thought your first choice Nug was Speechless.
No, man, it was, but it bounced around. So
okay.
I was shuffling things around as it went, because 4016 Building was one of my choice nugs the first few times I was listening to this record. Fucking Dedicated was one of my choice nugs. So it bounced around, but I landed on these two. And the first one is, and I gotta say it's mostly because of the feature, is fucking Wave Gods with A$AP Rocky, man.
Woo! Dude.
He really impressed me.
That's my nug as well.
Really? That's your second one? No shit, man. Yeah, that is between the beat and A$AP's verse, which he wrote so many lines for his feature.
It's a minute long.
It's really impressive in his wordplay and the imagery that he's painting, like talking about like everything from fashion to like, weed and the day-to-day life as A$AP Rocky and the way that Nas kind of, it's obviously that they collaborated on this song because Nas is doing a similar type of idea in his verse, and Nas's verse is fucking great too. Yeah, man, it really made the song for me.
Yeah, man, it's a fantastic feature. I love the DJ Premier cuts.
I love that. It was so 90s throwback for me.
Get on.
Yeah, I mean, mixing up like Cool G Rap, Snoop Dogg, Raekwon, bring in all these like classic samples from 90s hip hop and 80s hip hop, and it's such a cool DJ Premier thing to do. It's such a cool feature to have on this song. It's they're kind of talking about like hip hop history throughout the song too. Really
like
fun,
in the hook when me and Hit Boy, they say we like the new Gang Star, and me and Flacco and Max B, who's getting out of jail soon, I guess. So that's good to know.
I love A$AP's line, the 12 shells in the gauge like a carton of eggs. I thought that's so fucking hard.
Oh, man.
I love rock the pearls and diamonds, break the promise, break her wallets, break her heart, and break her pockets, taking notes like guidance counselors. Like, he was really going for it, man. And, honestly, last thing I expected was for A$AP Rocky to make a song for me and to almost be one of my favorite things on an entire record, because I dislike his feature on Action Bronson so much. But he made it for me on this one, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic feature. I like Nas's verse a little better. It seems like maybe A$AP brought a little something out of him. It seems like he's going a little harder now. He's putting like a little more effort into like going hard on the verse. Not like effort like he was slacking before or anything.
You know what's interesting is that he writes about half the amount of lines that A$AP Rocky wrote for the first verse, and Nas's verse might be even better.
I mean, it's Nas,
He's like, I'll do half of what you did and make it better. I love his wordplay with the numbers. The way that he was talking numbers on his verse, I thought was really kind of clever.
Juvie in 9-8. Got my first pair of J's. Thought I was 2-3.
Yeah, I just like that. Those little touches where he didn't just do it once, he did it twice. And he did it in different ways. And that's part of the subtle genius. The mastery of the craft, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And it's just another like short song. We get like 2 verses, 2 hooks, kind of an outro. It was like, tell Hit we got a hit.
yeah. That's the part of A$AP that I'm not impressed with.
Oh, come on. He's having fun in the studio, man. Get over it.
We're not here to have fun, Brett.
Tell Hit we got a hit. Hey.
This is serious. But that's cool. That was your second choice snug, man. I thought that was going to be your first. I thought we were going to have the same ones again.
I mean, in no particular order. I guess I'd say Wave Gods is, I like it a little more than Speechless.
Yeah, for sure.
and I think, you know, the beat behind it is cool with those kind of like synths, those rising synths, and it's a bit minimal, but there's a little more going on in the vocals, I think.
Yeah, I agree. That's why, you know, I bounced around. Like, Speechless was it for a little bit. And then, you know, that moved from one to another, and then it landed on Wave Gods, and it never left. And well, my second choice, Nug, we're following that same trend where you like one song so much, you tend to like the next one so much.
It's scarily, this is becoming less of a theory and more of just like a quantifiable fact.
Yeah, I think we're figuring out some scientific brain chemical thing that's happening here. We're breaking it down to the new chromes.
Your second Nug is the truth.
The truth. It follows Wave Gods, and man, it's a combination of the beat that goes so fucking hard on this song, and it's probably, even though it's still very chill, probably the most aggressive beat on the song.
Sure, yeah.
And Nas's delivery is just a little more hype, a little more aggressive, a little louder, a little stronger, you know, not as laid back sounding, and it works so well on this song. And his fucking rhymes, dude, it's the whole thing just came together perfectly. And I would say this is my favorite song on the record.
Yeah, well, given that he's talking, like, he's mentioning about nonviolent crimes, doing hard time for nonviolent crimes, bloody murder in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about, like, you know, basically all the horrible shit that he grew up with that he doesn't want the new rappers and the young guys growing up right now to have to go through. So he's just like, get out of that shit. You know, these guys who still, you know, wave guns around and talk shit that, you know, they're still with, you know, putting down ops or whatever. They all got ops. Like, it's, he's, you know, I think he's kind of talking to those guys right now on this song.
Yeah, it seems kind of like through the whole record that he's, you know, he's standing his ground. He's telling everyone that he's one of the best, but he's also kind of encouraging, you know, rappers and just the next generation to better their situation.
Yeah, it sounds like he's not. It sounds like there's no putting on airs on this record. Like, a lot of his lyrics sound very heartfelt and like genuine, and it sounded like that on this one. You know, where he's recalling shit that he went through and talking about it, and, you know, saying like, yeah, like bloody murder in the 80s, he had swayed Louis seats in the bourbon. You know, he did dirty, his sentence started turning. Like, it's like, yeah, he had Louis Vuitton suede seats in his Suburban in the 80s, but he also fucking killed someone and it went to prison, and, you know, all this. It's like, you know, he's saying, yeah, there was some stuff that was cool, and then, but, you know, the way that these people got that money was doing fucked up shit, and now you have an opportunity, if you're talented, to, you know, do something else. And I think that's what he's trying to get at here. And some of the cooler lines on this one too, like, pick an island anywhere for your happy solo return, and when I'm gone, I pray my family don't get the cash and burn it. To the floor, black fours laced up, Galactica glaciers, 88 carats, immaculate pay stubs. Just fucking badass. That's a cool line. So badass. Yeah, I love this song.
Well, I love this album.
I do too, man. Let's get into our ratings.
Yeah.
What is your rating?
Why don't you go first?
All right. Yeah, that's a very gentlemanly of you.
Yeah, no problem.
Very kind of you.
I just want to, you know, show that I'm kind of above you. I'll let you take the spotlight for a little bit.
You're giving me the spotlight for a second.
I mean, I'm gonna take it back.
No,
and I'm gonna tan in it, you know. But I'll let you get some vitamin D.
I hope I get melanoma from the spotlight. Is how much I want it.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, yeah, man. Really, really enjoy this record. It's a vibe throughout the whole thing. It's bite size compared to a lot of records that come out, which make me like it even more. You know, bringing back the Zach Foxes and the Action Bronsons of the world. How much I love those types of albums. And yeah, man, Nas is on his fucking, you know, on point on this whole record. I can't believe it's his 14th studio album, and it's one of the best things I've heard from him in a long time.
I was like, what else do you have to talk about after like 3 decades of writing rap music?
Dude, I wrote 20 songs for our band, and I'm just like, I'm tapped.
That's it.
That's it. I got
take
nothing
inspiration
more.
from our D&D campaign.
I haven't written a song in 2 years. I got nothing right now. And I'm not going to force it. And maybe Nas was forcing it for a little bit, and people say he fell off, and this feels like a very natural thing for him. Hit Boy is right there with them. Perfect beats for Nas. Perfect length of songs, like great producing, where 3 minutes and 15 seconds is enough. Let's move on. So I'm going to give this a solid rating, man. I'm going to give it like a, I don't know why I don't want to give it a 9 something, but I would say it's just, I didn't enjoy it that much. It didn't blow me away, but I really, really liked it. So I'm going to give it an 8.0.
I think you're staying away from a 9 because from what I've heard, King's Disease 1 and 2, especially 2, just has bigger concept stuff. It has a lot, it's got a lot of effort put into it, where this album seemed kind of effortless,
And still very impressive being effortless. But I definitely feel, I agree. I feel like I really, really enjoyed it, but it didn't blow me away.
And I feel like King's Disease 1 or 2, or maybe both, might be in the 9s for you, and maybe even me.
I can't wait to hear it, man. Honestly, I'm probably gonna pop it on today.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think this is a great vibe throughout the entire record. Songs are short and sweet. Unlike this podcast. I know every time we bring it up, I feel like a hypocrite, but you know what? Whatever.
Dude, I think we're doing really well at keeping this around an hour. I think an hour is an acceptable length.
The beats are all great. There's not a single bad beat on here, but there's also really not a single impressive moment aside from, some Nas lines. There aren't really any moments that are going to blow your mind or anything. The beats stay the same throughout the entire song, which is something that Lucas likes and I'm not as much a fan of.
Right.
And I think on one of the songs he said he's talking about, you got to be a special type of person to like my life. You got to be a special type of person to, understand my lyrics and really vibe with my lyrics. And I'm definitely not that person. So obviously I'm not going to appreciate this as much as people who've gone through the same stuff Nas has gone through. And with that being said, I'm going to put this one on, I'm going to give this one a 7.2.
Solid.
Which is, it's pretty solid.
Fucking buried the lead there, man. I was just like, is this guy about to give this thing a 4 point something after all the praise we just gave this album? You're like, I don't connect with this. I don't get the lyrics.
But
nothing impressed me.
That point boost was given because even though I like beats that evolve and change throughout a song, I still really liked the songs, and it's not like it was ever tiring or boring. Mm-hmm. It's not like I was ever, just kind of like my eyes glazed over or anything, even though this is an easy album to kind of zone out to.
For sure. It's very chill. Like we said, vibes.
And after
floor-to-ceiling vibes.
Nas released an album in 2018. He released an album in 2020 and 2021. This is the second record he released in 2021, and he still has interesting things to say, and he still has interesting things to put out into both the world and the rap game and stuff. And that's so impressive to me.
Very.
And him and Hit Boy, their bond is.
That's they have some sort of blood oath going or something. Like there's some sort of Santeria going on
there's
there.
some sort of ritual happening.
Yeah,
here.
there's some voodoo.
And so, maybe some of that, maybe this higher rating than I would usually give it is built upon my excitement to like listen to the records that came before this and my hype to listen to the next record they have.
That's such a great indictment of this record, man, that it got you hyped to listen to more of his shit.
That's exactly what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
He's keeping everyone at attention. He's like, I released 2 amazing records in the last 2 years, but I'm not done yet.
Yep.
Do not sleep on me. I'm coming back.
Man, well, I had a great time listening to this record. Buddies, what did you guys think? Did you guys check out this album? Are you guys huge fans of Nas? Are you as impressed as we are with this? Because I liked it, man.
Did you hear the first Kings? Did you hear the first 2 King's Disease records and think I can skip past this? This probably has nothing for me.
Yeah, tell us what those are like, man. Let us know on our Instagram at EBPcast, or go to my personal and send me a DM and be weird about it at Jean-Luc Guitard. Send Brett pictures of your feet for some reason at Brett Hammerhand.
Please don't do that. At least send the bits I'd like to see.
Yeah, send the
elbow,
the bits and the bobs that he'd like to see.
The
elbow, you're into elbows?
I'll accept elbow pics. I'll accept sword pictures. I like to look at people with swords. I think that's very cool.
You like mall ninja shit?
Yeah, mall ninjas. If you're a mall goth, if you're a cosplayer,
Mall goth.
That's mainly what's going to get the little guy up and at attention.
All right. Well, now you know, buddies. You get the little guy up and at attention by giving us a like and a follow. Check us out on YouTube and every other place you can find podcasts. And thank you for listening. Brett, what would you rate this episode?
You know what? I'm going to rate this one an 8 point whatever you gave it.
Whatever you gave it. And me too.
Okay. Well, what do we have next on the chopping block, Lucas?
Next, we're going to have a guest on our next episode, Brett Jamin. And it is a good friend of ours. Her name is Erin. And she's bringing an album that I've never heard before by a band that I've probably heard 10 seconds total of in my entire life. The album is called Guster on Ice. It is a live from Portland record from the band Guster.
This is our first live album.
Our first live album.
We're going to listen to. I never expected this to even... I never even considered this as an option.
I don't like live records, and she said that she swears it has really good production. It's one of her favorite records, and I'm really excited to talk about it. So, yeah, buddies, listen to Guster on Ice.
Look forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Brett, I'd like to say, in an ideal world, if you had a gun to my head.
Yeah. Which I do.
Every episode. You're pointing a gun at the camera.
And if I fire it, it will hit you.
Yeah, I know.
I just need you to know that.
I understand physics. I want to say, though, that this was good.
You know what, Lucas? Even if you didn't have a gun in my head, which you do,
I always do.
We never look at each other on Skype because we just have guns blocking the camera.
Yeah, I get scared every time I look.
I think even without that gun in my head, I would say that this was good.
Bye, buddy.
Bye, y'all. See you next time.
And a 3 and a 2 and a Q.